Another one that's come in here through the Q&A that I'm going to ask Becca to take, and then JR, is have we seen shifts in traditional talent review processes such as succession planning or hypo identification and development in the post-pandemic world? What do you think, Becca?
So one consideration sort of directly related to that is that came up in my group was the sort of stepping back and adding a greater emphasis on the sort of the how employees get their work done versus the what's your level of performance or productivity, recognizing that it takes something different to be effective in the remote or hybrid work environment, but also the way that we interact with our colleagues and as leaders with our employees may matter even more when people are not physically together and connected in the office. So that's one consideration that came up. That's just in terms of the talent review and identifying talent. One other piece that's maybe a little tangentially related to this, but I think is worth noting, a couple of participants noted really encouraging managers to have more frequent conversations, informal conversations with employees about how they're doing, areas for improvement, but also importantly, recognizing that even small efforts, small accomplishments to maintain that connection, but also to sort of to guide and reinforce the behavior that we want to see in organizations versus waiting for those, quarterly or annual meetings that are more formal and that kind of create more pressure around these conversations, making it less formal and more ongoing so that they can be more natural and employees have more of an opportunity to respond. So that's a little bit more on the engagement side, but also the development side than the talent identification. But those are a couple insights there.
Yeah, and Becca, something really related to that came up in our working group, and I've heard in other conversations with our partner companies, this idea that part of those regular conversations managers should have with employees is this question about what do you want to do next, right? So organizations have tended to think about succession plans as being driven from the top down, right? Some sort of talent review committee looks at individuals who are high potential or who are tagged for future leadership roles, put them on a spreadsheet, and then maybe revisit that once a year. But what has been happening more and more is they then turn to those employees when those roles come up, and they realize they don't want them, right? Maybe that involves coming back into the office where they didn't have to do it, or they've just changed their priorities, changed their interests. And so on the succession planning piece, it's actually involving the employees who are on that succession plan more often and more regularly and understanding what they want. The other piece here is organizations, and a few mentioned this in the working group, thinking about external succession planning, right? So thinking about whether that's engaging a third-party search firm, not simply when you have an opening, but to do some talent mapping for you, or whether to create some proactive filters on LinkedIn where you're keeping track of people who may potential external candidates for certain jobs, so that you not only have an internal pool of folks that you're keeping an eye on and sort of grooming and thinking about the role, but also thinking about who can I proactively reach out to when that role becomes open or when we know it's going to become open. So it's not a mad scramble, right? When a job becomes open.